Liberal Democrats formally call for a Green New Deal, giving substance to a rallying cry, the new why. By end. Want climate news in your inbox? Our email newsletter. Washington. New Liberal Democrats put flesh on their Green New Deal slogan on Thursday with a sweeping resolution intended to redefine the national debate on climate change by calling for the United States to eliminate additional emissions of carbon by 2030. Drafted by freshman Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York and Senator Edward J. Markey of Massachusetts, is intended to answer the demand, by the party's restive base, for a grand strategy that combats climate change, creates jobs, and offers an affirmative response to the challenge to core party values posed by President Trump. The resolution has more breadth than detail and is so ambitious that Republicans greeted it with derision. It's legislative, but as a blueprint for liberal ambition, it was breathtaking. It includes the initiative, introduced as non-binding resolutions in the House and Senate, is tethered to an infrastructure program that its authors say could create millions of new green jobs, while guaranteeing health care, a family-sustaining wage, adequate family and medical leave, paid vacations and retirement security to every American. Climate change and our environmental challenges are the biggest existential threats to our way of life, Ms. Ocasio-Cortez said on Thursday. We must be as Mr. Markey added, we will save all of creation by engaging in massive job creation. The House version calls for the United States to achieve net zero greenhouse gas emissions. PDF. The resolution, modeled on Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal in the 1930s, will not move in its current form, but some ideas could advance as part of more modest legislation to address the climate crisis. Yet on Thursday, frankly, I haven't seen it, the speaker told reporters when asked about the Green New Deal proposal during her weekly media availability at the Capitol on Thursday. But I do know it isn't. Ms. Pelosi is likely mindful of her own past mistakes. A decade ago, in that Congress, she had a Democratic Senate and a Democratic President, Barack Obama. This time, but on Thursday, she was also intent on letting her critics on the left know about her own past efforts, adding that she had made climate change the flagship issue of her first speakership. Proponents of the Green New Deal insisted that Democrats were unified. Both Mr. Markey, I think it is a green dream, Ms. Ocasio-Cortez said. I will not allow our Republicans seized on the proposal with relish, portraying the entire resolution as absurd. The Socialist Democrats are off to a great start with the rollout of their ridiculous Green New Deal today, said Bob Solera, a spokesman for the National Republican Congressional Committee, the political arm of House Republicans, who called the idea zany. The Republican National Committee derided it as a socialist wish list. But Democratic candidates for the presidency did not shy away from it once details emerged. Senators Kirsten Gillibrand, Democrat of New York, Cory Booker, for all of the resolution's audacity, Ms. Ocasio-Cortez and Mr. Markey also steered clear of several thorny issues, and there were even signs of concessions to moderate Democrats and Republicans interested in working on clean energy issues. For example, the resolution does not specify a date for eliminating planet-warming emissions, instead calling for the elimination of fossil fuels from major economic sectors as much as technologically feasible. The resolution also sidesteps any discussion of, which Green New Deal supporters had previously criticized on the grounds that it would enable the continued use of fossil fuels. Mr. Markey said the resolution is purposefully silent on individual technologies. Instead, the resolution calls for generating all electricity through renewable sources like wind and solar within 10 years, eliminating greenhouse emissions in manufacturing and forestry as much as is technologically feasible, and re-engineering cars and trucks to end climate pollution. The measure also includes social justice goals not usually attached to anti-pollution plans, like eradicating poverty by creating high-paid jobs. But the resolution goes far beyond that, touching on themes that are animating a rising left but rarely reach the halls of Congress. It aims to promote Mr. Markey, who co-sponsored the failed cap and trade measure with former Representative Henry A. Waxman of California, said he thought the public was far more ready than in 2009 to support climate change legislation. A decade ago, the Green generation has risen up, and they are saying we want this issue solved, Mr. Markey said. We now have the truth. For more news on climate and the environment.
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park.